Again,
Yes, you can go.
hello and welcome to GDM Economics. Nigeria today has about 360 million medium, small, and micro scale enterprises. And they combine to be about 90% of the businesses run in Nigeria. 67% of those are owned by youth. And they contribute to a total of about 45% of Nigeria's GDP. Unfortunately, on the continental level in Africa, about 61% of startups fail in their first year. Why? Well, that's where you are on DDM. Today is economics. To help me answer this question, I have in the studio an expert in this field, and I'll let him introduce himself in his details. In the meantime, this is Fun Adamubala. Fun, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Pam, for having me. It's a privilege to be here. And like you rightly said, my name is Adamufun Bala. Uh, I am a business ecosystem development expert, uh, a master coach and trainer on entrepreneurship ecosystem development, master financial literacy trainer, uh, agribusiness consultant, organizational development advisor, and an information technology expert. That's me. I'm happy to be here, and it's an area that I am very passionate about, and I've worked in the development of MSMEs and entrepreneurship for the past more than a
All
decade,
right.
actually. Yeah.
Well,
So
yeah, thank
that's
you
me.
very much. Thank you very much, Fun. And thanks for being on DDM. This is where we have African stories, African news, uncut right from the roots. So, first of all, what are MSMEs?
Well, MSMEs, uh, the acronym MSME uh, stands for micro, small, and medium sized enterprises. Uh, and these are different categories of businesses, enterprises uh, that are run by entrepreneurs. Some of them uh, sole proprietorship run. Uh, and so they uh, are businesses that thrive uh, in solving our day to day problems and meeting our needs on a daily basis. So the acronym MSME just categorizes these businesses based on certain criteria uh, around the amount of turnover of the business, the number of employees that business has got. So these criteria uh, are used to determine whether the business is a micro, small, medium enterprise. In fact, right now there is an N in recent developments. There is an N before the first M, which stands for nano, actually. So there is NMSMEs, which is nano, uh, micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. Um, Now, having said that, for the economy of Nigeria to actually pick up, Businesses like this have to thrive, but they have to
Definitely.
start from somewhere. And that is where the term startups come from. So far, from some statistics, we should have about 360 startups coming up annually, but a great number of them don't survive. So, why is that so? That's our basic topic for today. Why do startups come up and then they vanish?
Yeah, thank
Food
you
Bala, are you
for.
there?
I'm here and I heard you very clearly.
Okay.
Uh, can you hear me? Now,
Okay.
thank you very much for that question, Pam. It's a very worrisome statistics actually, uh, where a great number of MSMEs start and don't get to survive
Just,
uh,
just a minute,
for
sir.
long.
Just a minute, sir. Just a minute,
Yes.
Mr. Phone. Please, if you could work on your camera, it's blank. We can't see you.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay, let me turn it off and on.
Yeah.
Or do I log out and log back in? Because from here, my camera seems to be on.
Mr. Pam, can you see him?
No, I can't also see myself actually.
Yes.
So
So,
maybe I should log out and log back
okay,
in,
yeah,
right?
just log out and log in. We'll just be patient with you. Sorry.
All
All
right.
right.
Can you see me now?
Yes, you are back now. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Okay. That's okay. Sorry about that too. All right. So I can proceed, right?
Right away, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay. Pam is all right. Thank you very much, Pam, for that question. Uh, there are a number of reasons why MSMEs start, and over 60% of them don't survive the first 5 years uh, after starting. There are a number of reasons that cause this trend, and from experience, uh, this needs to be checked. Otherwise, we will continue to face these challenges. And I will, for want of time, I may not be able to go through all of them. But from experience and working with these MSMEs, I have identified a number of key causes why they don't survive for so long. And even some of them don't even survive to a point where they begin to even make profit. That's how bad the situation is. Some of them put in a lot of investment to begin, but don't even survive to a point where they begin to make profit from these businesses, and then they just run down. So I will just discuss some of these factors uh, that militate against MSMEs survival. One of the key factor is the lack of proper planning before the business begins. Uh, a lot of entrepreneurs and startups downplay the need for proper planning before starting their businesses. When I say proper planning, I'm referring to the business developing a business plan that will enable it to run successfully. And the challenge is that a lot of MSMEs think that having a business plan is only needed if they want to access, or there is need for them to access, loan facilities. So that is usually. Hello. Hello. Can you
You're
hear me?
off camera again, sir.
Oh dear, what keeps happening to this camera? All right, one minute, please.
Uh,
Oh
Please,
dear.
our friends who just joined the conversation, kindly bear with us so that our guest can face his camera issue. It happened like that before, and then it's happening. Just bear with us, please. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Pam, kindly unmute your mic. Unmute your mic, Mr. Pam. Mr. Pam, your mic is muted. We can't hear you. NS, can you hear me?
Hey, Chigozie. Mr. Pam, we can't hear you. Unmute your mic. Mr. Pam, unmute your mic. We can't hear you. All right, our guest is back.
Okay, I hope that does not happen again.
We hope so too.
Yes, yes,
Okay, you can
yes.
go ahead, sir.
All right. So a lot of startups downplay the importance for a business plan, uh, because the assumption is usually that you only need a business plan uh, if there is need for you to access any financial facility. But I often tell businesses uh, at workshops, at trainings, at conferences, that a business plan to a business is the same thing as a, a building plan is to an architect, uh, because the business plan provides you a strategic direction uh, for your business. Uh, Even developing what is called a BMC, a lot of startups don't even have that BMC. A BMC is a business model canvas that is a snapshot or a bird's eye view of an entire business on one sheet of paper. It contains the 9 major elements that a business needs to run successfully. And so a lot of startups don't even develop this guide before setting off. And so they start off and then get stuck within a short period of time because they are running on uncharted waters, without any radar, without any direction. And so when challenges begin to come, and they surely will come, when challenges begin to come, they don't have the stamina uh, to be able to withstand these challenges. So that is one problem. Another one is insufficient research. A lot of startups don't carry out sufficient research before beginning. And some of these research usually border around what the customer needs. And if you look at the business model canvas that I talked about earlier, the very first element of that canvas is the customer segment. And the customer segment is expected to capture as much details as you can capture from your research regarding what the customer actually needs. The purpose of starting up any business is to solve the challenges of your customers. And if you don't know those challenges that your customers or potential customers are facing, it's going to be very difficult for you to develop products or services that will meet the needs and the desires of your customers. And so startups start up and get stuck along the way because they are not able to meet the needs of those customers because they don't even know them that much. Yeah. So another challenge is poor financial management. A lot of times, businesses or startups begin without putting in the right personnel, without putting in the right structure to manage their finances. And so before long, uh, their cash flow is impacted. And as long as a business or a startup is not liquid, because that is what it requires to run the business on a day-to-day basis, uh, the cash flow gets impacted, and the business begins to struggle to carry out its daily activities. And so, what I tell businesses is that you need to put the appropriate structure. You need to get the right personnel, qualified personnel. The assumption is that when we are starting a new business, anybody can do the job. And that is very wrong, especially when it comes to managing your finances. Not anybody can do the job. You need to get qualified personnel to be able to manage those finances. Failure to embrace technology is another factor. I was working on a project recently, and we were trying to introduce an ecosystem approach to the development of MSMEs. And the ecosystem approach requires that all identified stakeholders within the MSME ecosystem uh, need to put hand on deck to ensure an enabling environment is provided for these MSMEs to thrive. And this enabling environment requires a lot of collaboration between MSMEs and the other actors that are within the MSME ecosystem. Now, what we tried to do was to also bring in digital service providers to support MSMEs access additional and better markets for their products. And then we realized that 90 to 95% of the MSMEs we were working with did not even have WhatsApp for Business accounts, did not even know about Google Business, did not have any social media presence. And these are impediments in this time and age to the survival of any startup. There is need for startups to embrace technology. And to do that quickly, because technology these days, gone are those days that it takes 6 months for technology to change. Now, technology actually changes almost on a daily basis. So, it's important that startups embrace technology uh, in their development. Weak branding, weak branding, and weak marketing uh, is also a factor. Creating a great product is only half the battle for a startup. Effective marketing is also crucial. You can create a wonderful product, you can have a beautiful service, but without proper marketing of this service or product, it's going to be difficult for that startup to make any income from that. So uh, there is need to embrace good marketing techniques. Uh, and what we try to do with those businesses by exposing them to online uh, markets was to also help them do good marketing of their products, have visibility online as well. So uh, there is need for startups to imbibe marketing techniques. It's good to have a great product. Quality, I tell MSMEs and startups, is one of the key uh, marketing strategy that you can have. We seldom pay attention to quality, the quality of our service and the quality of our products. And so when one customer patronizes us and does not enjoy the service or the product, I can guarantee you that that customer will not market your service or product. In fact, the customer is likely to tell his friends about the poor service. And word of mouth is one of the greatest marketing technique uh, that a startup or
Mm.
an MSP can can take advantage of. For a successful startup,
Okay, yes. Yeah, yeah, Mr. Foon, let me draw you back a little bit.
yes,
Um, you mentioned something about leveraging on technology, doing
that's
some
right.
research before starting. Now, some of
That's
the
right.
argument is that the cost of having a business plan to start is expensive. Like last year, it could be up to 20, 25, 30,000 to start. And some of the businesses feel that that money alone is the entire capital they are starting with. So, how can we balance that? How can we get information, do better research, and get our business plan ready without spending too much before you go on, sir?
Okay. Now, some of these challenges that I have mentioned faced by startups border around three key things. One is the skill set of the startup. Two is the mindset of the startup. And then three is the tool set of the startup. So these three sets play a key role in how that startup navigates the early waters of the business world. And today, uh, most most young people have access to the internet, uh, and so we go to the mindset now. Rather than use the limited amount of time and limited amount of data, which is a resource, to develop their mindset, to learn new things. A lot of times you see young people use these resources for activities online that are not beneficial to their businesses or even to themselves. So, one way to mitigate that is to develop yourself. You can learn how to develop a business plan online by yourself. You can Google and learn. There are YouTube videos that you can watch to learn how to develop a business plan. And maybe when you do that, you might just need someone within your social network to help you look at the business plan and make certain suggestions. So we can leverage on our social networks without necessarily uh, uh, contracting a consultant to do a business plan. Another option is as effective as a business plan is the business model canvas. Like I said, the business model canvas is actually a bird's eye view of that entire business on one page, on one page, with the 9 key elements that make up the business plan itself. You can develop a mini business plan, which is called a business model canvas. I think if startups look in this direction, they'll be able to develop both their mindsets, their skill sets, and their tool sets. Uh, Now, when you talk about the cost of technology, uh, what I advise is that you don't just look at the cost of doing something, you also look at the cost and benefit ratio of doing or spending a particular amount of money. So
Mm,
if the benefit of spending that budget head in your business outweighs the cost, if the benefit outweighs the cost, then I think it's a worthy investment. When
mm,
you buy these equipments, you are investing in your business. You're not just spending the money, you are investing in your business. And you would have taken very strategic look at that business and have identified what exactly the business needs to move forward.
mm.
And we're saying technology is a critical part of helping a business to survive these days.
Wow. Oh, okay, right there, Mr. Phone. So it is not only to consider the costs of investing in the business or
Yeah,
investing in research, but
yeah,
also
or
to look at the
technology.
cost of not investing in the research.
That's right.
Am
That's
I with
right.
you, sir?
That's right. That's
Exactly.
right. You have
Exactly.
captured that
Please
succinctly.
carry on, sir.
Yes. And so it's important to think like that if we want to support these businesses to grow. Uh, so uh, another factor that MSMEs or startups uh, ignore is the kind of talent that they employ uh, into running their businesses. It is important that you are able to spot the right talent that you need for your businesses to run. So spotting the relevant and right talents for the startups is very critical. It is important uh, to assemble a skilled and motivated team. Uh, if that is not done, uh, then you're likely not going to achieve much. In a startup, what you want to do is to carry out activities. So if you to carry out business activities. So if you employ staff that don't have the capacity, that don't have the skill set required to run your kind of business. For example, you're running, let's say, you're running a business uh, in the technology field, uh, and you are an IT startup, for example, uh, faced with challenges uh, because you hired inexperienced professionals to carry out your business activities, uh, then that is the impact of getting uh, inadequate talent for your business. You're definitely going to run or to have challenges when you hire inexperienced
Good
professionals.
morning.
Uh, this
Yeah,
impacts
Kaswa.
your project delivery and customer satisfaction, and ultimately, it leads to client loss. I tell MSMEs and startups that the success of your business is actually determined by the returning customers or clients that you have got. If a client or a customer patronizes you and does not return to patronize you, then you should begin to ask questions. The sustainability of any startup is determined by the satisfaction of its customer base. And the satisfaction of the customer base is determined by how often that customer base returns to patronize other services that that startup provides. And so it's important to get the right talent uh, to run our businesses. And last but not the least, uh, I was on the team that developed the MSME policy for Plateau State. And in the so many meetings, so many consultations we had, uh, when we were doing the validation of the MSME policy, uh, I made an observation, which was agreed by all stakeholders that were around, and that is the fact that uh, the the challenge of MSMEs or startups is not necessarily lack of capital. If you notice in the whole of my discussion, I did not say, I did not mention lack of capital as a major challenge for startups or MSMEs. If you notice, I didn't mention that. But that is usually the assumption that lack of capital or lack of financial resources is a major challenge. It's usually not, from our experience. So at that validation, we were discussing about access to loans for the MSMEs on the plateau. And I made an observation that, and that is from experience, that MSMEs are not able to access financial facilities, not because there are no monies floating around for MSMEs to access. They are not able to access these financial facilities because MSMEs are not ready for those financial facilities. I've been to workshops and trainings with MSMEs that have been in existence for some time. And I ask a simple question. If you are able to access as a business, if you are able to access 50 million naira as grant, what are you going to do with this money? And you cannot guess the answer. A lot of times, 98% of the time, MSMEs will say the money should come first before they know what to do with the money. So the truth is that, yes,
Yeah.
the truth is that these startups and a lot of these startups and MSMEs are not ready for the money to come. They are waiting for the money to come first before they think of what to do with the money. And that is a major challenge. They are not ready to access these monies. And so they don't invest in regulatory compliance. These are the things that make you ready for accessing financial resources. Is your regulatory compliance. When we were doing a project last time around, we were simply asking MSMEs or startups to go and open bank accounts. When we met these MSMEs, baseline of the project, 95% of them were not ready to open corporate accounts. 70% of them were not even registered legally with the regulatory bodies.
Hmm.
The reason they have failed to do that
Yeah.
was that they were afraid of paying taxes,
Aha.
which is which, and that is where you also consider the cost and benefit ratio of regulatory compliance. One, you are not even registered with the regulatory bodies. Let's start off with uh, Corporate Affairs Commission. You're not registered,
Mm-hmm.
not as a business name, not as a limited liability company. There is a registration now, LLB, uh, which is largely for sole proprietorship, and so on. So you are not even registered. Not to talk about being in the what is it they call it, having a bank account.
That's mm-hmm.
You understand? So how do you expect to access financial facilities from financial and even non-financial institutions? If you're into food, uh, and food and allied products, you need NAFDAC registration. You need standard organizations stamp and seal. You need
Yeah.
regulatory bodies to vet for your services and your products. Now, if you don't have that, it's going to be very difficult for you uh, to
To
survive.
open a bank account, even.
Yes, you can open a bank account. If you're not registered with CAC, you can't open a bank
Mm-hmm.
account. And so
Wow.
that
Yeah.
automatically
On
shuts
that
that.
note, yeah.
Sorry, let me
Yeah. Can
let
I
me
come in
land.
here first?
Sorry, let me land. So if
All
you
right. Right.
don't
Yeah.
have this, that automatically shuts you off from accessing any uh financial facility. Yes, you can go on.
Wow. Mr. Fun Adamu Balai, you have been wonderful. Thank you for being on this program. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, he is loaded, and I bet you there is more coming on part two. I hope if we call you the upper week next week, you would be able to join us because we need to have more from you. Because today we have looked at why the startups are failing. Then we would like you to come over tomorrow, next program, I mean, so as to tell us what they should do in order to survive. Because this 1 hour is almost through and it's getting deeper and deeper and more interesting. Would that be okay by you? All right. The network is doing its own thing again. So, well done, ladies and gentlemen, on DDM Economics today, our guest has been Mr. Fun Adamu Bala, who is a CEO of his own company and also an MSME ecosystem business expert. So, we will bring him again to continue on part two of this discussion. Some reasons have been brought forward for the failure of startups, and the entire economy of the country is held to ransom. Startups make up for, I mean, businesses naturally within Nigeria make up for over 90% of the entire businesses in Nigeria that MSMEs are handling. And then 45% of the country's GDP is from this business. How do we make them survive? You're still on DDM live, transmitting from Jos. Special thanks to my colleagues there in the studio. Ernest, you have something to say or a contribution before we wrap up?
Or if there is any MSME on the call that would like to ask a question or anything.
Yeah, Ernest, so that one is up to you. Any MSME business holder on the program that would like to ask a question, you can indicate, and Ernest will put you through. Oh, all right, all right. This has been so interesting. And our phone, if we call you next week, would you be available to continue? We have seen why they are falling, why they are failing. We want you to still guide our viewers to how you will make your SME stand up, your start up, really start up and continue. Would you be available, sir, next week or 2 weeks' time?
That's that's fine. That's fine. It's something I'm very passionate about. It's something I've been doing for more than a decade. Uh, and I'll be happy to support MSMEs in any way possible to overcome these challenges. So just let me know on time.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Cynthia Njoku. Thank you very much, Ernest, there for keeping us company. And to our colleagues in the diaspora, you're welcome. Thank you for being around. We'll see you next week with a continuation, possibly. But the economics on DDM will be on next week. And we'll make sure we try to pull in Fun Adamu Bala to continue. On behalf of the entire DDM team, where we take the stories of Africa from the roots uncut as they are. My name is Ryan Palm Jr. Tune in next week and we'll bring you another edition. Stay tuned. We're on Twitter, we are on WhatsApp, we're on Facebook. You can have a
Thank
review
you.
of this program to catch up with what you have missed. On behalf of everybody, ciao. Have a very beautiful day. What's your
Thank
Intian?
you. Have a good day.